Clay from Brooklyn, Football with the Fellas. It's all about Big Blue. Here with another mock draft Monday. So I did another mock draft this week, and I actually tried to trade back and see what that would look like. And so I'm going to show you what that looks like, and then let you tell me what you think about that. And I'll tell you how I got here as well. So here is the result of my mock draft. I traded down with the Jets to pick number 7, and you'll see what exactly that trade looked like. I gave them pick number 3 and pick number 154, and our second round pick next year. They gave me pick number 7, pick number 73, which is a third round pick number 110, and then their first round pick next year. So basically, I swapped a second for a first next year, and I swapped our first for their first, third, and fourth. Oh, sorry, our first and fifth for their first, third, and fourth. So that's how I got here, and this is what I got. I took Armand Membou with the 7th overall pick. I was thrilled that he was still there. He is by far, in my opinion, the best offensive lineman in this draft. Maybe not by far, but he is the best offensive lineman in this draft, in my opinion. So I was very happy to get him. And then I took Kenneth Grant in the second round. I really had a lot of back and forth in my head with that pick. I was very tempted to take Jalen Milroe there because I do think that Shane is going to want to take a quarterback, a young rookie quarterback that he can basically buy himself another year by drafting a rookie quarterback that needs to sit and learn from the 2 veterans that we just signed. So I took Kenneth Grant because I really think Kenneth Grant is a really good prospect and was just too good a value to pass up at number 34, especially since I hadn't taken a defensive player yet. And I think that that's a huge hole. We've got to protect Dexter Lawrence and extend his career. And Kenneth Grant allows us to do that. So I took him hoping that a quarterback would last till pick 65, and they did. So Jalen Milroe was still there at 65. So I ran to the podium, so to speak, and grabbed him at 65. And honestly, I think that is a possibility. I don't think it's a likelihood, but I think it's a possibility that Jalen Milroe falls. I mean, there's a lot of teams that need quarterbacks, but I think they're going to take Jackson Dart early. I think obviously they're taking Cam Ward early. I think they're going to take Shedeur Sanders early. So Jalen Milroe might just fall for a while. He clearly needs to sit on the bench. So I don't know how many teams are in a position to draft him and then not play him, but we are. So with pick number 73, which I got from the Jets, I was able to take Jaden Higgins, who I think is a really good wide receiver. I think that's going to, and thanks to Mazo, shout out to Mazo for making me pay more attention to him. I knew who he was, but I hadn't really paid that much attention to him until Mazo started talking about him. And now I'm all in on him. I think he's going to be a really good player. I think he's a sleeper. And then in the second pick of the third round, actually third pick of the third round, which had been originally our second pick of the third round, pick number 99, I took Deone Walker, that massive defensive tackle from Kentucky. Now, you might say, why did I take Deone Walker if I already took Kenneth Grant? First of all, I'm hedging my bets, right? So I know that Kenneth Grant looks like an amazing prospect, but so did Mazi Smith from the same school. Mazi Smith came out of Michigan 2 years ago. Frankly, looked even more athletic and even better than Kenneth Grant and has been a disaster for the Cowboys. So I'm a little bit concerned, about maybe that, I don't know, defensive line coach at Michigan. I don't even know who that is, but maybe the defensive line coach at Michigan isn't as good, or somehow the system allows defensive tackles to look better than they actually are. I don't know, but Mazi Smith made me a little bit nervous. So I said, let me double down on defensive tackle. I think Kenneth Grant's going to be great, especially if Coach Andre Patterson gets to work his magic with him. But I do think having Deone Walker as a backup is not a bad idea, especially since I think we need 2 interior defensive linemen in this draft anyway. I'm really disappointed with what we have around Dexter Lawrence. So adding Kenneth Grant and Deone Walker makes me feel a lot better. I think the chances are very good that at least one of them is pretty good. And I think the chances are not bad that both of them are pretty good and maybe one of them is very good. That's a lot of goods I'm throwing around. But the point is, I think our interior defensive line becomes much better by doing this. So that's what I did. And then pick 105, our early pick in the 4th round, I went with Teddy Buchanan. You've seen me pick him a lot lately. I think he's going to be a really good inside linebacker. He really turned out at the combine as well. So he's someone who is more athletic than I realized. The combine showed us that. And he's just a tackling machine. And, the speed is there to go sideline to sideline. He doesn't miss a lot of tackles. I'm really looking forward to him replacing Micah, to be honest. Then, with that additional pick that we got, pick number 110 from the Jets, I took Zav Frazier, who is a cornerback out of UT San Antonio, which is where Tariq Woolen came from a couple of years ago, who I also was pounding the table for 5 rounds. He finally went to Seattle in the 5th round. I was like, what are you doing? This man is 6'4", 220, and ran a 4.28. You don't have room for him somewhere in the first 4 rounds? That was ridiculous. And he turned out to be a very good player. I'm hoping Zav Frazier, who is not quite as big, he's 6'3", 185, but nearly as fast, very, very fast. Not quite as fast as Tariq Woolen, but very fast. So I think he's someone who could be that outside corner that challenges, if not replaces, Tay Banks, who you know I'm down on. So this is nice depth, at least, for Tay Banks. Maybe he's a gunner right out of the gate. That kind of size, length, and speed. Maybe we just have him on special teams right away. But I do think that in a year or so, he might be the person that allows us to move on from Tay Banks. Really good athlete, really good length, really good size. And he's a much better tackler than Tay Banks, right? He is a sure-handed tackler. He's only missed 2 tackles this year. He missed 2 tackles this year. That is an incredible stat for a person who played the whole year. Then, of course, in the 7th round, I said, well, you know, I'm ready to move on from Graham Gano. And so Ben Sauls was my pick at 219. I usually take him at 246, but I was afraid that he might be gone, to be honest. I'm like, you know, how much better player am I going to get at 219 than Ben Sauls could be as our kicker? So I took him at 219 this time. And then finally, I took another one of my draft crushes, Thor Griffith, who's that really freakish athlete who played in the Ivy League for 4 years and then transferred his 5th year to Louisville. And he's just a little bit on the short side. I think he's like 6'1", 6'2", but incredibly strong. That's a guy who did 45 bench reps, which is insane. And obviously smart and can play the position, I think, at least as well as the people we had as depth this year. So if he beats out DJ Davidson and, you know, people of that ilk and saves us a couple of $100,000 to $500,000 by getting rid of one of those 2nd or 3rd year players, Jordan Riley, DJ Davidson, people like that, and replaces them and produces at least as well as they do, I'll be fine with that. And of course, as you see, we wound up with the Jets' 1st round pick next year. So next year, we won't have a 2nd round pick, but we'll have 2 1st round picks. So for those of you who are hoping we can draft a quarterback next year, if need be, well, now we got 2 1st round draft picks. So that makes that easier to consider. Okay, so that's what I did. I'm happy to hear what you think about what I did, as always. So please drop a comment. Please let me know what you think about the draft picks I just made, the trade I made. What would you do differently? Did you like it? Comment, like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. As always, Clay from Brooklyn, football with the fellas, and I'm out.
Big shout out to El Marquis Productions, the talent behind the music and production here at Football with the Fellas. It's all about Big Blue. Their beats bring energy and excitement to every episode. El Marquis' skills in mixing, mastering, and creating top quality sound make the podcast come alive each week. For your own projects, check out elmarquisproductions.com and take your sound to the next level.